emulate the virtues of Prophet Muhammad. President Buhari, others enjoin Muslims at Eid al-Maulud.
Felicitations trail appointment of Ignatius Kaigama as new Archbishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja.
More than 300 officers of the armed forces get promotion to various ranks, yet one officer is elevated to Major General.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss young Nigerians who are doing great things.
It is common knowledge that youths in Nigeria make up a substantial population of the country, which is roughly put at almost 200 million.
Now, according to the National Population Commission statistics for 2019, Nigerian youths between the ages of 18 and 35 years constitute about 32% of the nation's population. Of course, the number therefore almost 63 million.
And this underscores the importance of this category of the nation's demography in our national development. Nigeria indeed boasts of, if you like, an army of teeming youths that can drive any innovation or policy and boost the quest for job creation and wealth generation.
Now, that's true, Kirian, although the stark reality is that most of the youth after their tertiary education are in hot pursuit of white-collar jobs, which are getting fewer as the years roll by. And out of frustration, some of them veer off into vices which do not complement the good image of Nigeria, both at home and abroad.
Exactly, Kingsley. But there are also young Nigerians who are not waiting for the white-collar jobs and are bent on carving a niche for themselves by deploying their creative abilities and skills to breed innovation across various sectors of the economy. Some of them have actually been compelled by difficult conditions to make recalls to their creativity and utilize their talents to create wealth and generate employment for themselves and others.
All right, Deb. And now, if we have more young Nigerians venturing into job and wealth creation, perhaps the burden of expectation on government will be reduced, as well as the quest for white-collar jobs in the public service. Now, if you ask me, Miriam, I really look forward to a time when government will also on its own be looking for young Nigerians to work in the civil service just because they are manifestly engaged and engrossed in the business of job creation and wealth generation.
Of course, indeed, and that will only happen when young Nigerians take the bull by the horn and start considering what they can do for their country above what the country can do for them. In the course of the program today, we shall be engaging some of such young Nigerians who are already embracing entrepreneurship with so much passion and innovation with prospects of attaining higher heights.
Certainly. Now, we shall also be interrogating exactly what they do, how they are faring in their various endeavors, their challenges and vision for the future on today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria. My name is Kingsley Osadolo. I welcome you to the program, and we're broadcasting as always live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority from Abuja, our headquarters studios in the nation's capital.
I am Kirian Umayo. Thank you for joining us for a fresh edition of the program this Monday. It's a public holiday. Well, of course, you celebrate Eid al-Maulud, the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. So sit back and have a good morning ride with the program on NTA. And just to let you know, we shall as usual serve you with a complimentary segment of the program, include news. And for now, let's join our colleague Joseph Johnson for the morning news. Joseph, happy Eid al-Maulud.
Yeah, thank you very much, and same to you. Good morning, Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari on Sunday in London visited the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, at his official London residence known as the Lambeth Palace. The president was received by the revered Archbishop as being a regular visitor to the Nigerian House in London as guest of President Muhammadu Buhari. Nigeria and England share a long history of cordial relations, and this reciprocal visit is a testimony to that. Pictures released by the Special Assistant to the President on New Media, Bashir Ahmad, show President Muhammadu Buhari with Most Reverend Justin Welby at the Lambeth Palace on the south bank of River Thames. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Archbishop Ignatius Kaigama on his appointment as Archbishop of Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja by Pope Francis, following the retirement of John Cardinal Onayekong. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media, Garba Shehu, says the President the roles Bishop Kaigama had played in promoting peace, faith dialogue and mutual understanding between Christians and Muslims in the country. As Archbishop Kaigama begins a new phase of his ministry, the President joins all members of the Catholic Church across Nigeria in praying for successful and memorable tenure in office. Will see the Church accomplish great things for the unity and prosperity of the nation. While complimenting government's efforts at human and material development, the President also congratulated Archbishop Emeritus John Cardinal Onayekong on his retirement, commending His Eminence for his dedicated service to the Catholic Church and invaluable contributions to the spiritual life of Christians under his pastoral care. President Muhammadu Buhari says the greatest honor Muslims could do the Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, is to follow his shining examples of non-violence, peaceful disposition and remarkable virtues of patience. In his goodwill message to the Muslim Ummah on the occasion of the Maulud celebration to commemorate the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad, President Buhari said, quote, putting into practice the great virtues for which the Holy Prophet Muhammad is historically famous and revered would have a far greater impact on changing our attitudes and behaviors than the best sermons ever will. There is the urgent need for increased vigilance by Muslims in order to frustrate and stop the spread of violent ideologies that are causing human havocs and tragedies around the world. End of quote. Similarly, President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, has congratulated Muslim faithful on the commemoration of this year's Eid al-Maulud. Lawal, in a statement by his special advisor on media, Ola Awoni, urged Muslims and Nigerians in general to imbibe the virtues of peace, tolerance, justice and love for one another as exemplified by Prophet Muhammad. In the same vein, the Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, in his Eid message urged Nigerians, especially the Muslims Ummah, to use the occasion of Maulud to offer prayers for Nigeria. In a statement, the Speaker urged the faithful to imbibe the good teachings and leadership qualities of the Holy Prophet, in addition to promoting unity and peace among diverse people, which is key for development. Now, farmers in Nigeria will continue to have access to quality and affordable fertilizer following the successes recorded by the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative. Under the initiative, the country today boasts of more than 24 fertilizer blending plants, producing and distributing more than 2 million tons of the product to farmers.
Farmers don't need to pay for the insurance separately. They don't pay premium separately. The price of the insurance is packaged and bundled into the cost of the fertilizer.
Penalty is 7 years imprisonment without an option of fine, because it is highly criminal for somebody to sell fertilizer to our unsuspecting farmers, a fertilizer that is deficient in plant nutrients, fertilizer that is adulterated, misbranded or unbranded, or even divert fertilizer.
Meanwhile, the need for more farmers to embrace agroforestry farming systems has been emphasized in view of its potentials. This was at the close of a two-day workshop on food sustainability and economic recovery at the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria.
Our target is that annually, via various products that we're coming out with, at least let 1 million Nigeria be gainfully employed.
The prostate enlargement issues that we know that it happens to most men these days. So we have research and come with a particular drug that will be effective to treat and manage those things.
Finally, more than 300 officers of the Armed Forces of Nigeria have been promoted to various ranks following approval by their respective councils. The Nigerian Air Force has 13 air commandos promoted to the rank of Air Vice Marshal, 35 group captains promoted to the rank of Air Commodore, and 51 wing commanders promoted to the rank of group captain. Similarly, the Nigerian Army Council has approved the promotion of senior officers to the next ranks of Major General and Brigadier General respectively, while the Nigerian Navy Board has also approved the promotions of 140 naval officers. And those are the news highlights for now. Thanks for watching. The program continues with Kieran and Kinsley after this break. I'm Joseph Johnson. Bye-bye for now.
The new edition of TV Guide is now exclusively taking a look at the traditional television and new media. Are they comparable or complementary? Media industry players give perspective on the trends, progress, challenges, and the way forward. Find out on this compelling edition of TV Guide. Expository interviews with stars of the team within our space. Eki Madojemo of NTA, Utibe Umore of AIT, Nifem Oguntai of TVC, and a host of others. TV Guide, your indispensable companion. Also feature Yamadina.
I'm the CEO managing director of Yamadina Sister Restaurant. I choose to serve. Turn up your mouth. Let me finish.
A TV drama series on NTA. Let's get to meet the characters behind Yamadina. This edition also presents exciting futures in tourism, culture, entertainment, sports, health, and lots more. Grab a copy at the windows near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Governor Yahaya Bello is evidently a man favored. A multitude of friends, party men and women who gathered to witness the flag-off of the gubernatorial campaign of Governor Yahaya Bello, the brand new Ogo Guata of Ati Gala, and amiable Deputy Governor Chief Edward Onoja provides a resounding proof. A gathering that has this caliber of people in attendance is indeed a testimony of a man who is well in touch with the appropriate political classes that will further connect Kogi State to the sources of development and prosperity. Today, investors are indicating interest to do business in Kogi State. Kogi is firmly connected to the sector that works. The Ajokta Steel Company is about to witness a dramatic turnaround that will revive the pride and worth of the state. Let's join hands to put Kogi on the national map of development. Vote Yahaya Bello and his deputy, Chief Edward Onoja. A rational choice.
Hey, bro, what's up, man? Wait. Sure, son, I want the bicycle.
Enjoy more data than before on Airtel Home Broadband. Get up to 160 gigabytes on routers with 25,000 Naira and 55 gigabytes on Airtel MiFis with 12,000 Naira. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Helpline Foundation Nigeria and partners presents the third annual Africa Women Conference, AWC 2019, a gathering of experts, institutions, corporate organizations, and individuals promoting the growth, stability, and development of African women, through which various resources available to African women can be channeled to the sustainable development of the continent.
Keynote speakers: Dame Talin, Ramatu Tijani Aliu, Madam Magdala Cooper, Inta Masigarba, Karima Ranim, Ibtisame Azar, Dr. Anissa Nagra, veteran Nollywood actors and actresses.
Theme: Building a Coalition to End Gender Inequality in Africa. Date: 21st to 23rd November 2019. Venue: Kenzi Manara Palace, Marrakesh, Morocco. For participation and inquiries, visit www.africa-conference.org or call 234-806-5388424. AWC, building an Africa where every woman's potential is fully harnessed. Powered by Helpline Foundation Nigeria, Echoes Africa Initiatives New York, International Center for Diplomacy, Morocco.
The Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, cordially invites the general public to the 2019 Abuja Carnival, taking place between 23rd and 25th November 2019. Theme: Culture for Peace. Street Carnival and opening ceremony. Saturday, 23rd November 2019. Venue: from Old Parade Ground to Area 1, Abuja. Time: from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Other cultural activities on display are Children's Fiesta at GSS Area 10, Garki, Abuja. Durbar at Uje Stadium. Boat Regatta at Jabi Dam. Masquerade Fiesta at Government Day Secondary School, Gwagwalada. Traditional Cuisine Fair and Bush Bar at Old Parade Ground. Command Performance and Award Night, as well as Contemporary Music Fiesta at the Old Parade Ground from 23rd to 25th November 2019. Time: from 8:30 p.m. till dawn daily. Deaconess Grace Isu Gekbe, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, announcer.
This year, like every other year, for over a decade, we celebrate and reward African creatives around the world at the African Academy Awards ZAFA 2019 in Abuja, Nigeria. The second homecoming event, the three-day gathering of industry stakeholders and enthusiasts to network as well as encourage and motivate budding talents. The most screenings, exhibitions, and masterclasses will hold at the Silverbird Gallery on the 22nd to 23rd November 2019. The awards and gala night on the 24th of November 2019 at the prestigious Transcorp Hilton Hotel Abuja. For inquiries and sponsorship, advert placement, tickets, call the following numbers on your screen now or visit www.zafa.org.
This is wonderful.
I'm super excited about this. Nothing is expected of them other than awesomeness.
ZAFA 2019. Come expecting the unexpected.
Not so fast.
Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down. Do you have a job where you're going to?
No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. You know, I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad or even end up in prison.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Now, in business news, aspiring entrepreneurs have been urged to embrace knowledge acquisition as the federal government's partial closure of land borders receives a thumbs up. Let's join our correspondent Kunle Adeyeye for details.
With clamor for Nigeria's teeming youth population to develop their talents to create wealth and generate employment, those aspiring to be entrepreneurs have been enjoined to be in tune with latest global trends in their quest to be self-reliant. An entrepreneur, Chukuma Okenwa, said this will be realized when government and private institutions place premium on skills acquisition.
And then most importantly, young persons must be ready to submit themselves to apprenticeship and mentorship. Recent research reveals that the missing link in recent entrepreneurial attempts is what? failure of apprenticeship, people to get apprenticed and then to be mentored. But when you go through the process, learn all the whole process around the business.
In another development, the closure of land borders in the country has been described as one that will enable Nigeria change her status from a consuming and importing country to a productive and exporting one. Managing Director of Abuja Enterprise Agency, Mohammed Arabi Tukur, said Nigerians should look inward and use local means to address the challenges facing the internal business environment.
But to a large extent, talking about nation building, this is the right to go. I am a strong advocate of the border closure. I have said it several times. This is not the first time. Even the January 2020 that Mr. President is saying may be considered as the period of lifting the suspension. I think it should be extended beyond that.
Business News. I'm Kunle Adeyeye.
Well, thank you, Kunle, for that report. We appreciate that. Next on the program is newspaper review.
Our newspaper reviewer, Bayo, is right here in the studios with us. Bayo, good morning and happy Eid al-Maulud.
Thank you, Wesley. Good morning. Good morning, Kenya. Good morning, Nigeria, and happy Eid al-Maulud.
All right, we have about 3 newspapers to review this morning, and let's begin with the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust newspaper. Now, below the nameplate, military promotes over 320 senior officers. That story is on page 8. The DPR suspends building operation of filling stations near borders. It's on page 16. Now, Emir Sanusi speaks on abducted Kano children. The story can be found on page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper. The lead story this morning on Daily Trust is firefighting equipment grounded in states amid rising incidents. Of course, you can see the photo story, on the Daily Trust newspaper showing the broken down firefighting vehicles there in one of the states. As a matter of fact, it's in Enugu. Some firefighting vehicles in Enugu and other parts of the country. All right, and at the bottom of the Daily Trust, we have DSS arrest matron, 4 others over abduction of children in Kebbi State. It's on page 4. Abuja oldest buildings rotting away. It's on page 28. Maulud, violent extremism, biggest challenge to Islam. Find that story on page 3 of Daily Trust. Kinsley.
All right, let's take a look at the Daily Independent newspaper. Daily Independent, the front page is quite easy. It's lead story to the kicker, Eid al-Maulud. Violent extremism, Islam's greatest challenge. That's according to President Buhari. With the rider Atiku, Gbajabiamila, Amo Agege, Makinde, Secondus urge love and unity. Now, just above the nameplate of the Daily Independent newspaper, you have following headlines. Army promotes 34 brigadiers general and 47 colonels. With the 2 riders there, Air Force elevates 13 air vice marshals, 86 others, and Navy promotes 140 officers. That's page 10 in greater detail. Anxiety in Oshomole's camp as Obasaki's support base swells. That's page 10. PDP alleges move to change Kano governorship and recall judges. That's page 12. APC and PDP disagree over Sanwo-Olu's performance. Page 51, with 2 riders, he has made Lagos better than he met it. That's according to Balogun. There's a breakdown in officers of governance. That's according to Ghani. Now, you see the front page photograph there. It's President Muhammadu Buhari with the Most Reverend Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, at the Lambeth Palace in London on Sunday. And other headlines there on the front page: reps deny cracks in the House. In Zamfara, APC seeks Inspector General's intervention over ban on political gathering. Will overrun Bello and APC across Kogi. PDP boasts and condemns attack on SDP Secretariat. Concerns mount over ExxonMobil's dipping oil output. Ayo.
Thank you, Kinsley. Today is Maulud el-Nabi, which is a day marking the birthday of Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Prophet of Islam, peace be upon him. He was born about 632 AD. Today in Nigeria is a public holiday. President Muhammad Buhari has reminded Muslim faithfuls against extremisms, and he enjoins Muslims to ensure that they promote peace and tolerance with peaceful coexistence with one another, and not to allow their children to be lured into extremism by extreme persons. The issue of Maulud Nabi is led to some argumentations into society. Others used it to pay salutations to the Prophet, which is they consider as traditional. Others consider that an innovation, introduction into the religion. But if one were to go by the history of the Prophet himself, during his lifetime, he always fasted on Mondays and Thursdays. And when he was asked, he said he fasted on Mondays to revere the day he was born. So in the 500 and about 31 days that is in the Islamic calendar, he would have fasted about 51 times in the year, and therefore that was actually marking that day of his birth. And many Islamic groups do gather in worship to pay salutations to the Prophet. Some others oppose that. They say it is an innovation. In Adamawa, Governor Amadou Fintri has used the occasion that he is going to bring in 38,000 almajiri into what he described as public schools. He says this is part of the gesture to enable them benefit from free education of his policy. He enjoined participants in the celebration of Maulud to use the occasion and the knowledge they acquire for spiritual upliftment and peaceful coexistence. Sheikh Abu Bakr Awari, in whose locality this ceremony was played, enjoined on celebrants to use the teaching of Islam and the virtues of the Prophet, particularly that he always prevailed on people to avoid extremism in whatever they do as a means and cardinal point of worship. He enjoined citizens to stop plaguing political leaders with frequent and unnecessary requests. He said this is deliberately stopping the governors and political leaders from actually working for the interests of all the people. Across the nation, Speaker of the House Representative Femi Gbadabiamila, Deputy Speaker of the Senate Ovia Omar Agege, and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, as well as some governors, have called on Nigerians to live in peace and unity. Governor Ayade of Cross River State enjoined Muslim faithfuls to harp on the essence to be peaceful and live in coexistence with other citizens. Talking about promotions in the armed forces, the Nigeria Army Board has approved the promotion of about 48 colonels to be elevated to brigadier general. There are 34 brigadiers also elevated to major general. Similarly, the board of the Nigerian Navy has approved appointment of 140 officers, while the Air Force Council also promoted 99 officers to their next rank. The child trafficking report you reported, yes. It's a matron at the University of Usman Danfodio Teaching Hospital who has now been nabbed in connection with child trafficking. Child trafficking, talking about that, at Malam Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano, a woman suspected to be involved in child trafficking was arrested with a 6-month-old baby. She was trying to board an aircraft and fly to Lagos. It may be recalled that same Kano Airport, a man was also arrested with 870 ATM cards while trying to fly to Dubai. You recall Zainabu Ali, the lady who had her baggie padded with drugs? It also happened at the same Kano Airport. But the vigilance there has increased, and they are actually up and doing, tackling all these criminals who are using that as a launch pad.
In fact, Bayo, what has become so worrisome is the aspect of women getting so much involved in child trafficking, especially 6-month-old baby. I mean, should that come? It's in almost all parts of the country.
I think what is happening is this. There are persons who desire to have children. One circumstance or the other, or one challenge has not enabled them succeed. They are prepared to pay any amount of money to get a child. And this syndicate is going on. In fact, there are reports last week, 2 of them, about a supposedly orphanage in Jos, from where 2 children were purchased and the purchasers were apprehended in Lagos. So this is what is going on.
Okay, let's go to Blueprint newspaper and get what is trending. Blueprint newspaper. Besides the Blueprint newspaper nameplate, Access Bank, UBA, 2 others rally big after 8 weeks. On page 34, and below that, Dangote built $60 million cement plant in Togo. Also on page 34, and directly below the nameplate, railway wagon assembly will generate 5,000 jobs, says Mechi. All right, and 28 IDPs studying at Edo University, according to the coordinator, is on page 5. And the lead story is a federal government's decision on border closure in national interest. That's according to Emir of Kano, Sanusi. The story is on page 6, and it has the 2 writers. Lawmaker urges sustenance, and cleric calls for reconsideration. Now, below the photo story here, which of course shows President Muhammadu Buhari with the Bishop of Canterbury in London. Below that, Okowa to Nigerians. Okowa is the governor of Delta State. Don't despair due to challenge. It's on page 5. Ogun State Police nabbed in 3 others with 42 bags of Indian hemp. It's on page 17. Federal government to establish monitoring unit for FEC approved projects, according to official, is page 15. Nigeria risks billions over marine notice. Find out what that is all about on page 6. Now, Idel Malud, Buhari asks Muslims to follow Prophet Muhammad's examples. You can also get that story on page 5 of the Blueprint newspaper.
All right, Bayo, let's take that. Then I have one human interest story to take from Daily Plus at page 30.
Okay. Well, I wanted to draw attention to a Punch investigation that indicated that many states of the Federation are in hard times. This is because their internally generated revenue is far, far, far below what they get from Federation accounts, and therefore they are now forced to depend on Federation accounts. According to the Punch investigation, only 2 states, Lagos and Ogun States, are the only ones that have internally generated revenue that is more than what they get from the Federation account. And you will recall that since June, all states have been receiving from the Federation account far lower than what they have been receiving. This is due to the fact that there was a 614 billion bailout, for which now every month 166 billion is deducted from the accounts, and this has put a lot of pressure on very many states. And recently, the Nigeria Labour too has added to the pressure, and they are arguing that the wage increase, minimum wage adjustment, and consequential adjustment must be paid by state government, and this is a Herculean task. And therefore, experts are saying that unless the states devise other means of increasing their internally generated revenue, many of them are actually going to be in crisis and may not be able to meet their need. And the advice that has been profiled, a former president of the Accountant Association of Nigeria, Dr. Nzekwe, had advised governors to, first of all, cut down the retinue of their political appointees, reduce what he described as exorbitant cost and waste in public expenditure, and above all, draw attention to their security votes, which he described as a huge chunk.
Well, you see, Kingsley and Bayo, this issue of governors depending on the Federation, what they get from the Federation account, has been there over the years. In fact, the return to democracy in 1999. And some people argued that, look, that some of these governors can actually generate funds if they are creative enough to see resources in the states that can have access to. You can also venture into agriculture and other sectors of the economy that can yield more dividends for this government. But because of the easy way of getting this money monthly from federal government, some of them have become lazy. And he also pointed out the fact that they are involved in some kind of a bogus kind of government officials who have been employed based on to satisfy their political patronage, those who assist during elections and what have you. And it's affecting the states. And with the 30% naira increase for workers, it's going to be a Herculean task for many governors. And of course, if Labour meant what he's been saying, then of course it's going to be a showdown between Labour and some governors.
Some of the problems have accumulated over the years. Aside from the recent one that came from the bailout, there are local debts and foreign debts, which are very huge from many states of the Federation and has accumulated over the years.
All right. Last week, Labour gave a deadline of December 31st for state governments to begin payment of the new minimum wage. And that if the governors decline or the governments decline, then the governors should be impeached. So today is the 11th. So you have about 29 days. Sorry, you have 31 days, and then the difference between that and 19, which gives you 49 days or thereabout. And then when you calculate that, that gives you about 7 weeks. So we'll see how it goes. Not so, as Nigerians will say. Okay, let's take a look at page 30 of the Daily Trust newspaper. There's a story there. There are two stories there. There's strange stories, they titled them, but there's one below. That's what we are focusing on. The one right below. It says, man dies trying to eat 50 boiled eggs for stupid bet. Now, it says that this was an extreme eating challenge that took place in India's Uttar Pradesh state. The man had a bet with his friend for about $28 US. That's the equivalent, that he could eat 50 boiled eggs right there and then. So his friend bought 50 eggs from a vendor, and then, of course, the guy picked up the challenge and then began to eat. Now, but has popped the 42nd egg into his mouth, he suddenly fell unconscious. He never recovered from that.
I know of a man who threw up a challenge, and these guinea fowl eggs. He challenged that he could eat 100, and they brought 100, and he sat and started consuming it. He succeeded, but he didn't sleep throughout the night. I had to rush him to the hospital, and he promised never to try it. Also, when I was in the secondary school, there was this tea competition they used to do. They boiled very hot tea and say, who is the first to finish it? One of my classmates took the challenge. He was the first to finish it. Boiling hot tea. He won 1 naira, which was a lot of money then. A lot of money then. Okay. But for 3 weeks, he never had taste in his mouth.
Because all his taste buds were ruined. In this case, 42 eggs killed him just before they reached 50.
All right. On that note, we'd like to thank Bayo for coming in on a public holiday, be part of Good Morning Nigeria. Thank you indeed. We wish you the best of Malud. And thank you for coming. See you again tomorrow. All right, you're still watching Good Morning Nigeria, and it's on the network service of the NTA. We're going to take a short break now. When we get back, we will now start the program proper. Stay with us.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, Please support our armed forces.
20 years of travel and counting. 20 years of promoting tourism in Africa and diaspora. Over 3 million kilometers traveled. Over 30 African countries visited. Explored the diaspora in 4 continents. Connected over 100,000 happy tourists to Africa. Reached over 50 million homes. Igniting smiles across Africa and beyond. As Goge Africa turns 20, we thank you and invite you to join us in the quest for 20 must-visit destinations in partnership with the largest TV network in Africa, the NTA, Ministry of Information and Culture, Ministry of Transportation, Lagos State Government, Canon, Delta Airlines, Royal Caribbean, Tobruk International. You can still be a partner. Call the numbers on your screen or info@gogeafrica.tv. Goge Africa, celebrating 2 decades of heritage, travel and tourism.
When I'm on nights so restless, tissue makes my days worthless. I need to recharge energy. Get up all night, sleep with always ultra. For stacks of tissue, no competition. Boy, super gel, long lasting protection. Long day, I'm fearless. Here comes the boss lady, multitasking flawless. My kids will get the best. I'm a boss lady. Always starting now with 250 Nairas. Stay happy always.
All right, it's Good Morning Nigeria, still on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Our conversation, of course, is on young Nigerians who are doing and achieving great things in their own spheres. To set a tone for our conversation, there is a Vox Pop put together by correspondent Victor Azu.
If we are betting on government, that betting is just like that. You to have to buckle up. Fish pond can give them money. Agri can give them money. Many things can give them money. Business center can give them money. Barbing salon will give them money.
Youth of today, they are playing laziness game. They are rats. They know there's plenty job. That's why they produce pure water. Don't be money they find. You go see money now. Person they come buy pure water for the person they produce them. Don't be money they find. You no go see money, you go see. Shoe cobbler. If federal government empower them to the standard, those shoe cobbler, they go make shoe go, meet up standard.
There are youths with entrepreneurial skills of which they have acquired, but still there's no money for them to venture in or to develop their entrepreneurial skills that they have acquired. So what I'm trying to say that the government should help us with a flexible loan, that even when you are not educated, you can be able to acquire such loans, even maybe with your voter's card. Because there are some, they will say, okay, we'll give you this loan, but what are the collaterals?
They should let and also and skilled. They should be skilled. At least they be exposed to some handworks, so that will help them to do either shoemaker, shoemender, or like mechanics. All those work can help you to go higher.
There's many things that the average youth can engage themselves, but you cannot engage in something where you don't have a source. I like to, for example, maybe a guy, an average youth, maybe you want to engage yourself in do this, let's say, other work, or enter this taxi work, but you don't have the source to purchase the bike or the vehicle. So where can such youth start?
The glass where you put for face, not be somebody do am, not be money the person. Person where they can't carry the glass in quantity for the person to produce am, where they carry go for a shop. The money in the see money there. The money when they see there, not be in the carry they pay in shop. Not be in the carry they buy club put for neck. Not be in the carry they feed the wife. They send the pikin to school. Work could they? Not be until we they look for government work.
And those were the views of a cross-section of Nigerians, of course, who bear their mind on the subject matter for this morning. Well, we have our guests here in Abuja studio in Lagos, and of course, via Skype from the United States of America. But first, let's begin with our guest here in Abuja studio. We have Emmanuel Bala Musa. Emmanuel is a young entrepreneur and the co-founder of Day Health medical service provider. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, and here also is Aliu Bello Aliu, a young entrepreneur as well, who holds a degree in pharmacy and has developed an app for online medical consultation. We're also glad to welcome you to the studio, Iman.
Thank you very much.
All right, now from our Lagos Network studios, we have been joined by two guests. First, we have Kalejaye Adewale. He's a young entrepreneur who is into livestock investment. He holds a degree in criminology from the National Open University of Nigeria. Kalejaye, thanks for being with us on the program this morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
And with him in Lagos is Elisha Guegbu, who is a maker of footwear. Elisha holds a national diploma in economics and management from the Federal Cooperative College in Kaduna. Elisha, pleasure to have you with us on the program as well.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning.
All right. And via Skype from Houston, Texas, we have Abi Chekun. He's an entrepreneur, strategist in the Nigerian diaspora who is harnessing the talents of young Nigerians back home. Good morning and pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Maybe we'll start there.
Well, just before, so the Skype connection is good, but perhaps, Kieran, let's just find out why the young men who are the entrepreneurs and investors got into what they are doing right now. I believe so, and I think the Skype connection will still be good. Otherwise, you know, it's a public holiday, so the traffic probably will be less intense. Yes. Okay, Kieran.
Yes. Let's begin with you. Let us know how you got started. You know, and this will serve as a kind of advice for other young Nigerians who are watching this program. So, how did it all start?
Okay, thank you very much for this great opportunity. I started due to a burning desire to solve the enormous challenges in the health sector. You know, malaria is the most deadly disease in Africa. But after a meticulous and a vigorous research, we realized that fake news, rumors, and false alert of outbreak in the health sector can even be more deadly than malaria. In 2014, during the Ebola outbreak, we all remember that information were going around that people should take their bait with salt. Now, out of our ignorance and mismanagement of information, so many people drank that salt, which led to their untimely death. Now, our platform is where you can be able to verify any information in terms of outbreak in the health sector. That is one. Then, secondly, you can be able to access quality healthcare service at the comfort of your home via our platform, either through a video call, audio call, or using our chat booth. Then, two, there are times that in terms of emergency, you can come to our platform, then you order for a medical doctor, then the closest medical doctor to your location can come attend to you, just like the Uber. So our own is the Uber of the healthcare. So these are the three major solutions we are solving in the health sector in order to alleviate or minimize the challenges that people are going through using technology.
No, just go over again. Let's see the three top priority areas you are focusing on in the health sector.
Okay, one is a platform where you can easily verify information during outbreak. Then second, you can access quality healthcare service at the comfort of your home. Then two, you can be able to order a medical personnel, and the medical personnel will come to your location. Attend to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And just to indicate that in 2014, when we had Soya bringing Ebola from Liberia, Good Morning Nigeria embarked on vigorous public enlightenment, dissuading people from taking their bath with salt or even drinking salt water, such as you have referred to. Just a reminder, that was about 5 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Now let's bring in Aliu Bello Aliu, who's a young entrepreneur. He has a degree in pharmacy and also developed an app for online medical consultation. How and why did you get into this?
Thank you very, very much. You see, for me, this is a bit more personal, why I've embarked on this whole journey. On Thursday, 16th of June 2016, a young lady named Amina Mohammed passed away in Abdullahi was a specialist hospital in Kano. He died of what we call Stevens-Johnson syndrome. This is a rare but serious reaction of the skin and mucous membranes to certain drugs like Septrin. You see, a couple of days earlier, Amina had taken Septrin, which she had gotten from a local chemist, after complaining of minor flu-like symptoms. We all do a lot of these things. This then triggered the unfortunate chain of events that led to Amina's death. You see, there are a lot of questions that arise from that event. The first is, why didn't Amina go to see a doctor in a hospital? Perhaps it's because it takes as long as 6 hours and 50 minutes just to see a doctor in a public health institution in Nigeria. This is according to a study conducted by the Bureau of Public Service Reforms in 2018. Why did she not go to a private clinic? Of course, because it can cost as much as 10,000 naira just to see a doctor in a private clinic in Nigeria. So, common man has no choice, and Amina Mohammed stood no chance. So, long waiting times and high out-of-pocket costs constitute significant barriers to access to healthcare in Nigeria. And as someone that has background in healthcare, this is something I see every day. So it's all about trying to say, okay, these are problems. How do we come in? What do we have? What value can we leverage on to solve some of these challenges? So it's from a deeply personal place and as well as from a professional angle too.
So what is your focus?
Basically, so myclinic.ng basically is an online and on-demand platform that enables anyone from anywhere to see and talk to a doctor at any time. Just like, kind of like an Uber for doctors. So for right now, our core areas we're focusing on is access, and more access. It is never a bad idea to talk to a doctor when there's as many as 75% of Nigerians were found to, admitted to have engaged in self-medication as of 2018. Why do they do those things? Because of the problem of access. It takes so long to see a doctor, and it costs so much to see a doctor. So we're trying to break down these barriers that limit access to healthcare in Nigeria. So we're focusing on access as it stands, and we're doing so primarily in a mobile app. As it stands, you just download the app, create an account, you're able to select from the list of available doctors and hold online consultations. So upon holding that consultation, you're able to receive a prescription and a diagnosis as applicable. And of course, we understand that not all medical conditions can be handled online, definitely. So for that reason, we've partnered with Nigeria's largest hospitals in Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Kaduna. This enables doctors on our platform to be able to refer patients to hospitals close to them should they require physical examination or should they require specialist care. We've also achieved similar partnerships with Nigeria's largest laboratory chains. This also enables doctors on our platform to be able to refer you to laboratories close to you where you carry out laboratory tests and results are back on the platform. So we're just trying to solve the problem of access for now.
Yeah. All right, Aliyu Bello, thanks a lot. I mean, you're doing something great, no doubt about that. Yes. But I'm sure some of our viewers will have difficulty following what you're saying because you're speaking so fast, almost like a rap artist. I don't know whether that's a part-time thing you also do.
He's a fast talker, right? And I'm sure our viewers will be able to understand him. We'll return to you actually to break it down, so that we will understand how this access how possible is it for people to have this access, and of course to know how many doctors are on your platform who can respond, when necessary. Right. So let's go to Lagos to talk to Kalejaye Adewole. Kalejaye, you're a young entrepreneur, and of course you're into livestock investment, and you studied the criminology. One wonders the connection there. Now let us know, or let's share your experience. How did it all start, and what led you into livestock investment, and let's see how it works.
All right, thank you for the opportunity, and good morning once again. All right, for me, I ventured into agri because of the direction that I see that the country is moving. I saw a gap in the country presently that we are far away from where we're supposed to be in agriculture in Nigeria. And yeah, after my criminology course, I went into more trainings and certification in other fields in agri. And why livestock came as a result of the fact that I had this personal experience. Cows. We all know today the issue of cattle herdsmen around the country, the challenges that is bringing. But the truth is that this business is a variable one. It is large enough. For example, Nigeria, we have about 200 million population in Nigeria today, and our cattle ratio is about just 20 million Now, when you look at Brazil, Brazil has about 200 million population as well, and actually has over 200 million cattle as well. That's like saying one person to a cow. Now, if you come back to Nigeria, there is still so much gap. And I look at agriculture that we, in every sector, in every businesses across agric, you realize that we still have that gap that is breeding. So Meat Wallet came on board to kind of create, close up that gap in livestock investments. And that's what we are doing. It's out of this passion to kind of not do things the way we've been doing it in agric. It will be a failure on our part as youth today if we do the things that our forefathers did and we are still getting their results. With the level of information, with the level of exposure, with the level of data that is flowing around the world today, we should be able to do better than them. And so that is what about the passion for me, to kind of go into research, ask questions as to what can we do, what is being done out there in the world. We can bring it into Nigeria. Get a better result. So for us, livestock investment is also about bringing in more people. You don't investing in agri because they don't have the expertise. So we create a platform whereby you can also be a part of agric, make money from agric without you even having to do anything about agric. So that is where all this all came from, and that is where we are today.
Ekisley, let him tell us, let us know exactly what you have done, what is on ground. Is it a platform, or do you have a ranch, for instance? Are you working together with those who have been in the business for a while now? Let us understand specifically what you have done and how it can impact on the society.
Okay, presently we have a ranch in Ogun State, and we'll be working towards expanding this ranch. We're bringing in more persons on board to be a part of this stuff. And what we are doing presently is to actually bring in technology into cattle rearing business in Nigeria. We're bringing in health kits that can help us to detect the state of our cattle per time. And also we are feeding our cattle with what I call the hydroponic fodder. A lot of time the challenge comes from the fact that many cattle rearers are looking for fodders to feed their cows with, and it's quite expensive. And also because of the seasons, we tend to have the challenge of getting fodders to feed the cattle. So I came up, I went for a training on hydroponics that I learned how to make this fodder, and with this fodder in 7 to 9 days, we can be able to feed our cattle. And this can be done all year round without waiting for any season, without waiting for rain, without waiting for sunlight. We can always do this technologically at the backyard of our ranch. So that is exactly what we do. And the platform presently is actually for us to bring in more people on board to be a part of this.
Okay, Kalejaye, thank you very much. I'm sure we will get to know more about the kind of stock you have at your ranch. How many cattle, for instance, do you have? Is it 100 cattle or 10 cattle?
Okay, presently we're doing about 50 at the moment. And like I said, we want to expand it big. Actually, we decided to bring this out on board this year. And we hope that by next year, it will be all around the country.
Very much, Kalejaye. Elisha Agwebo, who is into footwear manufacturing or footwear making, is also there with you in the studios. He holds a national diploma in economics and management. Elisha, tell us something. What happened? How did you get into this shoemaking business?
All right, thank you very much for this opportunity. I think what got me into shoemaking business was, like most Nigerians are from a poor background, and my dad has to sacrifice so much to make ends meet in the family. And when my elder brother got admission to Nigerian Police Secondary School at Mina, my dad had to sell some of his properties and even his shoes to get that. So that kind of built something in me, and I told myself that I will do my best to make him proud. So when I got my first salary from washing dishes, I decided to get my dad a present to celebrate his birthday. So I got him a pair of shoes, and it was expensive, but I thought it was worth it. So I gave it to him, and he loved it, and blessings and all that. So he went out to celebrate with his friends, only for him to come back walking barefooted because his footwear were damaged beyond repair. So I felt I was a failure, and I failed my father. As a result of that, the next day I quit my job and I went to learn the act of shoemaking, so no person will feel the way I felt, and no man or woman will ever be embarrassed by poor footwear like my father was. So that brought me to shoemaking. Since then, I went to learn the act of shoemaking, trying to solve that problem. Because right now, an estimate shows that more than 50 million Nigerians are infected with fungal and bacteria as a result of walking on contaminated soil, barefooted. And that could be averted or avoided if they could have a quality pair of shoes to put on. And also, there's a high level of unemployment among people in my locality. So whenever I see them, I feel touched by them. I want to do something. I want to contribute. I want to help people out from the streets to make them self-employed. And also, among that also, I have this thing for footwear. I love footwears. I've always been amazed on how footwears are being created. So that was propelled me. That was made me to go into footwear. I want to solve a problem. I want to help Nigerians. I want to get many people employed. And I also, most importantly, want to solve a problem. That's what I've been my driving force, to solve a problem. Thank you.
Well, it was almost becoming emotional there. Right. We understand your storyline, trying to assist your father, and now you have expanded your horizon in this case. But can we know what specifically you have done in terms of you have a shop, you have a factory for shoemaking? Have you expanded to that level, or are you still doing it at a very lower scale? Lead us into how much of an expansion that you have done in this respect.
All right. Thank you very much. So when I went to learn the act of shoemaking, I only stayed with my boss, Yasko Footwear Technology. I stayed with him for a year, and when I left him, I had to continue. I want to learn more. So I went from one shoe store to another to learn. So it took me 5 years to learn the act of shoemaking until I felt that I'm now very good at it. So I started this year, February, and since then I have 3 team members, and also I've been able to raise 15 people to train them in the act of shoemaking. Although I want to expand, we just from a small scale, from a little store. And it pains me and it hurts me to see many people come around. They want to learn footwear, and I cannot really take everybody because I can take so little at a time. So for now, we're at the beginning stage. We're just standing. But next year, we have so much target, and we're going to go big from there. It's just a start.
Elisha, as you very well know, the shoe industry is a range, it's a continuum. I mean, you have the lower end, you also have the higher end. As my colleague Kieran was asking you, exactly where are you now? I mean, if you were to go into a big shoe manufacturing company, you will see all kinds of machines and equipment. But we also know that there are handcrafted shoes. Exactly what are you doing now? Do you have the machinery, or these are just handcrafted shoes that you are making now for specific customers? In other words, bespoke or otherwise known as customized shoes.
Okay, for now we're just starting. We don't really have much of the machines. We don't really have much of that. But right now we're growing, and also our footwears are customized. Mostly our customers tell us what they want, the design they want, the color, the shades, and we create it for them.
All right, time for us to go to Houston, Texas, USA, where we have Abi Asekun. I hope I got that correctly. He's an entrepreneurship strategist and a Nigerian in diaspora who is harnessing talent of young Nigerians back at home. Abi, how are you doing this? You know, you reside in the US, and of course you have your tentacles spread in Nigeria. Let us understand what you're really doing.
So I've always wanted to do what I could do to support Nigerians young Nigerians. I've lived in America for so long, and I've been fortunate to have the experience in working for big and small companies, and also understanding what it is to do business and owning your own business. And with working with the current organization, which is in Nigeria, that supports Nigeria and Canada, we were looking for an opportunity to give back to Nigeria and to Nigerians with our corporate social responsibility. And we believe that actually helping the young entrepreneurs was the best way to go about it. With the population size that we have and the percentage of young Nigerians without actual white-collar jobs. We felt that this was a really, really amazing time and place for us to be able to get our feet in the ground with young Nigerians and enhance them and grow with them and guide them to be successful in their entrepreneurship startup companies.
Abi, thank you. Exactly in which fields are you intervening in hunting for talents and then seeking to boost their imagination?
We are in most sectors. For this year, we focused on agriculture, energy. We focused on manufacturing with Elisha. We had another individual, Billy Keys, who did bags too as well. We had people in just every sector that you can imagine. We are not limiting it to certain sectors. We want young entrepreneurs to feel that they have the talent, the growth, the imagination, the innovation to be able to take their businesses to the next level. And so we are not restricting the sectors or avenues of the young entrepreneurs that we reach out to.
Abi, please, can you be specific this time around? Let us get to know perhaps the individuals that you have worked with in this respect. Can we just know who and who have benefited from what you are doing, and whether you are also satisfied with the kind of Nigerians that you are dealing with, based on what you are doing?
So, first of all, between the Abuja and the Lagos zones, the young entrepreneurs who are there are part of my team with our first young entrepreneurship competition that we had this year. Actually, that happened last week. So these are beneficiaries of the competition that we had and the funding that was supported to them. Again, my company is doing this as a corporate social responsibility in terms of giving back to young Nigerians. I don't have a certification in entrepreneurship, but I've had many, many years experience in terms of owning my business, going all the way from my father to my grandparents. Everyone owned their businesses in Nigeria, so I've had a really great experience with that. And with a company like mine that supports international trade and investments, it was only right for us to be able to start to bring in young Nigerians too on board, and not just having the bigger multinational companies succeeding and excelling in their businesses, but also getting the young Nigerians too, who are just starting up, to get them to a level where they can be successful in their own business as well.
Well, Abi, thanks a lot. But tell us something. I mean, what have you observed with a broad range of participants in your program who are aspiring startups or who already have startups and then would like to take those startups to a higher level?
One of the things I've really noticed is access to what I would say education. And I don't mean education in terms of going to a university or a training school. Education in terms of understanding how to manage a business, balancing your books, knowing your credit score, how do you use your collateral to ensure that you can properly access loans, education on taxes, knowing your taxes, knowing how the taxes structure in Nigeria benefits you, what you can get out of it. I mean, those are all the things that our young Nigerians don't have access to in getting that adequate education, and it is there. And so our job, or my job, is to ensure that it's all well-rounded. It's not only about the capital seed funds that they get to help them develop their business, because you can get all the money that you want, but if you don't know how to manage your business, your business is going to go into ruins. So this is where we come in and help guide them through the entire process to ensure that they're very well-rounded, successful business people.
Right. We would like to appreciate you one more time for the good job that you are doing. And in the course of this program, perhaps you will have more time to tell us more about your engagement with those Nigerians that you are assisting to prop up their business. Thank you indeed. That's Abe from US. We'll get back to her very shortly. For now, let's bring back Emmanuel Bala Musa here, who's a young entrepreneur, DigiHealth medical services provider.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's a platform-based business you're doing.
Yes, sir.
Right. You know, in most cases, Kingsley and I guess here, younger Nigerians always think of having the resources. How do I get the resources, you know, to start up a business? Yes. Loan, for instance, or as a matter of fact, they take off funds, you know, to start up a business. Now, did it take you much to establish business? What did it take you to start a business?
Yes, thank you very much for this wonderful question. You know, access to funding is one of the very complicated issue most young entrepreneurs are having. But we're privileged to, we came second in the Nigerian edition of the West Africa Health Hackathon in November last year. And we got a grant of about $1,500, which stand out as a support for us to enable us to be able to start the business. And through our personal savings and support also from my family, I was able to join all these necessary resources to be able to kickstart and the business. And since then, we've been making tremendous progress. We've been making tremendous impact. To the extent we were recognized in February this very year by British Embassy among the 15 startups in Nigeria. And similarly, also in March, we are also recognized by Enterprise Development Center in collaboration with our Global Entrepreneurship Network among the 50 creative businesses in Nigeria. So the necessary funding we got has really helped us to make so much impact and to also create so much value.
What is the similarity or difference between what you do and what Aliu Bello does?
Yeah, fantastic question. Aliu personally is a very good friend of mine, but I think the unique differences about our businesses is in our platform, you can be able to verify informations in terms of outbreak, in terms of health emergencies and what have you. And also, on our platform also, you can be able to as well, at the comfort of your home, order for a medical personnel, and the closest medical personnel will come attend to you. But I think boy is in a better position to expatiate further, so that I wouldn't want to create a division here.
Before you leave, before you stop, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, you said that people can have access to certain information that you upload on your platform. Now, what about the authenticity of the information you
Yeah, great. Okay, after the competition that we came second in November last year, because NCDC, National Center of Disease Control, was there, Ministry of Health was there. So after that, we had a collaboration because we understand that healthcare is a very sensitive issue, and you need to build trust, you need to build transparency, and you need to make sure that what you're doing is within the regulation. So we are presently communicating, we are also collaborating to make sure that we render a superlative service and we adhere to the regulations guiding the health sector in Nigeria.
Well, I'm sure you've read reports in the media of outbreak of yellow fever in some states of the Federation, and that we are already in the dry season, at least in the northern part of the country. And I'm sure in the next couple of months, a couple of weeks, we'll start hearing about Lassa fever, because Kieran asked the question, and incidentally, you also referenced the NCDC, which is the National Center for Disease Control. Dr. Ehekwazu is a regular guest on Good Morning Nigeria.
Awesome.
But does the NCDC or the Ministry of Health give you the information, or you access it and then you now act as a booster for the information that they have? Because they have men on the beat who make returns to them with regard to reports.
Yes, they basically, we collaborate with them. They give us the necessary information because we are all partner in progress. We do similar things, but in order for a wider reach, we just assist. So they give us the necessary information, and we also create more awareness, enlighten Nigerians, so that Nigerians will be more aware of what's happening.
Okay, I can, in the comfort of my home, you said,
yes, sir.
Excuse me, I'm coming down with a cold. In the comfort of my home, access a medical doctor,
yes,
or a medical personnel. Yes. How do you eliminate non-professionals
good.
From interposing themselves between you and myself?
Exactly, good. We are advanced stage communicating with the National Medical Association because we make sure that certified medical doctors are those that are registered. So their information is there, their license number. So all is highly transparent. So as a patient, you go, you see all the medical personnel that are on our platform, and that gives you that confidence, that boost to know that we are a trustworthy organization.
Well, Ali Bello, Christian asked an earlier question, as to the difference between what both of you are doing. You're a pharmacist, isn't it? And I was once told by a pharmacist that no pharmacist should be looking for a job, right? So you are saying it's quite understandable to me. Now, what is the difference between what both of you are doing?
So thank you very much. Like you said, I've known Emmanuel for some time. We've been working on different projects for some time. So basically, I think I don't know too much about his own, but what I know so far is that they focus a lot about information and its relevance as regards healthcare, as regards public health to be specific, and that is important. While we're focused on the other aspect, we're focused on health, on access, to be candid. So they have a lot of other things that they're probably doing, while we're focused on probably just one thing. Access, and more access. So ours is probably just, we might offer the same services, but in varying ways to an extent. So I'll give you an example. We might all offer online video consultations with doctors, you understand? But we actually go, should I say a step further, but we have another means by which we help patients. So basically, we understand that not all Nigerians have smartphones, you understand? And once you see someone has to download an app, it means he has to have a smartphone. That is a criteria. So what my company is doing differently is that we're building state-of-the-art hardware. We call them remote medical consultation booths. So these are just mini kiosks with integrated sensor suites. So basically, they are just a kiosk or a booth where you enter. There's a screen where you're able to talk to a doctor online remotely. But those booths also have state-of-the-art sensors that capture vital patient data in real time. Data like blood pressure, pulse rate, BMI, and your temperature in real time, and make it available to the consulting physician online, you understand? So those booths are meant to be stationed in supervised environments like community pharmacies and patent medicine stores in remote areas where there's a chronic shortage of trained healthcare manpower. So we go a bit further. We don't only stop at software, we also use cutting-edge hardware to try and bridge the access divide as regards access to healthcare in Nigeria.
Yeah, Kyria, I mean, this is sounding more like the advanced stage of telemedicine.
Yes.
In the past, before the advent of all these smartphones, we used to hear of telemedicine. I mean, you call a medical personnel who is an expert in that particular area, and who can consult for the individual. Well, access moderated by cost is part of what you are chasing. Okay, now how does this then benefit the patient who is in need of health care? Because earlier you talked about the waiting times at public health facility. You also talked about the high consulting fees. Yes. I mean, you go, they say, by the time they write the cost for you, about 10,000 naira and so on and so forth. So how is this knocked down for a person who is using your application?
Okay, amazing. Thank you very much for this question. Basically, the problem of access to healthcare is a very complex problem in Nigeria. So any solution would have to be a local solution that embraces a synergy of 1, innovative software, 2, cutting-edge hardware, and 3, radical financing solutions. Because part of the problem of access to healthcare is a financing problem. So what we've done is we've taken the cost of a consultation and stripped it of all bureaucratic and extra cost, and narrowed it down to the exact cost of a consultation. So how we work is simple. For as little as 1,000 naira, you can hold an online consultation with a doctor, 10 to 15 minutes, as per World Health Organization standards. And how are we able to achieve that? On average, we charge 1,000 naira. That fee is split 50-50 between our own platform and the consulting physician. So I'll give you an example. If a doctor on our platform spends just 2 hours, 10 that gives you like probably 12 consultations, because each consultation lasts like 10 minutes. He's able to earn 6,000 naira for just 2 hours. Compare it to his regular salary. A doctor can earn probably 150 to 200,000. That's for a medical officer. So a doctor is able to earn equal to or even more than what he earns in his regular job by just working less than 2 hours on our platform. So that way we're able to strip down the cost of a consultation and what gives the doctor his due as regards his professional fees. So,
okay, I'm just wondering, Kyria and Emmanuel, you are itching to say something before I ask my next question.
Okay, in addition to what he said, I think the pivotal driving force of innovation is, according to Bureau of Statistics, 40% of medical personnel in Nigeria are unemployed. Now, through our platforms, both of us, you understand, we are trying to create employment for the medical personnel in Nigeria, because as they offer the services, they are getting paid and at the comfort of their home, remotely. You know, technology is the backbone of every developed society, and we are in a digital world now. So, and most jobs these days, people work from home and they get in. So this is a pivotal solution that is going to alleviate the high rate of unemployment we have in the country.
Thank you very much. You know, we're not working from home here in the studio. We're live in Abuja. I just, gentlemen, for the benefit of our viewers, so we'll break it down. You know, appearances or symptoms sometimes can be deceptive. So is this taken, therefore, as, shall we say, an advanced form of first aid? Or what are the next steps that a patient, should adopt after this initial consultation? I mean, I recognize the fact you made earlier that there is a great deal of resort to self-medication. So instead of self-medication, why don't you consult an expert? But I mean, speaking online, a doctor will ask you all kinds of things. You might not be able to disclose or explain fully, and what is apparent may not be real. So what is your usual advice for a person who has consulted or who has utilized your services for online consultation?
Beautiful. So basically, like I said, we would like to answer this question very well, we'd have to understand how consultations work in general. So I'll give you this number. In the UK, 1 in 4 consultations, physical consultation in hospital were found to be unnecessary. The term that was the term that was used in the research. Unnecessary, that means they could have probably been handled without the need to see the doctor face to face. So basically, not all consultations require physical examinations. That's one. A vast chunk of the interactions we have with doctors are for conditions that probably could be handled through even a mobile call. Not all, like I said, according to research in the UK, it was 1 in 4. We don't have data for Nigeria yet. So for us, we understand that not all conditions can be handled online. Of course, you understand. But it is never a bad idea to, first of all, talk to a doctor. So should you, first of all, talk to a doctor on our own platform, and the doctor, using his own professional discretion, establishes that, okay, this case is serious and you require emergency care, or you need to go and see a doctor physically in the hospital, that gives you that courage and that confidence. Okay, this is serious. I need to stand up and go to the hospital. And in the case where these cases are mild and probably can be handled online, the doctor can still simply go ahead, give you a diagnosis and a prescription. So for us, I think it's all about, like I said, we believe it is never a bad idea to talk to a doctor. It doesn't matter whether it's in the hospital or it's from your shop or in your office. So that's what we're trying to do.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. What amazes me, and perhaps many Nigerians, is the fact that all our guests this morning, whatever they're doing, are science and technology driven. And from what Emma said earlier on, that any society that negates the power of science, technology, and innovation cannot move further. Absolutely. And that is why it's very interesting to see our younger generation getting seriously involved in science and technology, using that to also make money and exist. Okay, now let's go back to Lagos and talk to our man there who is in livestock investment. And now talking about Kalejaye. Kalejaye, knowing the intricacies of cattle rearing, We understand that in ranching, for instance, you need some facilities, some infrastructure, and others to have a good ranching where you breed a healthy cattle. May we know some of the challenges that you have in the ranch that you have in Ogun State or Ondo State, as you mentioned earlier? What are those challenges that you have, and how are you involving other young Nigerians who may like to take to livestock business around you?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. Actually, I didn't start with ranching. What I did was the normal freestyling of taking the cattle around the community for them to feed on grasses and the likes. And just like every other person in the business, I had challenges as well with the farmers. I'm also a farmer myself. I'm into crop farming on the one side as well. But I realized that the challenges is enormous. Having to have your cattle go into another man's farm and eat up his own investment as well. So it was what brought about the idea of why not keep this, why not go and learn more about having a ranch and learn how to put this structure and the facilities in place and how to get this done better. So I actually faced the challenge of having the cattle being poisoned by some farmers who realized that these cattle always come around to their farms. We lost some cattle in the process of this, and I had to also pay damages sometimes. So going around these challenges, I decided to learn so much, going on YouTube, checking around the facilities of ranching around the world, and we set up, for now it's still a mini one, and we are actually expanding on this. So what we actually did was to actually bring in some little form of facility in Ogun State. It's in Ogun State at the moment. And like I said, we're expanding. And with the last competition that we had some resources that we can also use to expand what we're doing at the moment. So in bringing other youths into this, the truth is I'm actually passionate about involving many youths like myself into this, because for me, agriculture has not yet been scratched in Nigeria. There is still so much that we can achieve. So what we do is actually to train people on how to get this done. And at the moment, we're actually training some Fulani guys who are right there in the west, in Ogun State. We train them on how to make this kind of fodder for their own livestock. Because the truth is, by the time you take your cattle round and round, you are losing so much, because by the time they eat, before they come back home, the health hazard, the weight loss and the likes will affect your productivity at the end of the day, and you won't be able to sell at a good price, and so you are losing so much. So what we do is to actually create a platform where we can still train others who want to be involved in this. And like I said, we are bringing in technology into this. You realize that even the issue of ranching, rustling as well, there's a technology that's MTN is providing, for example, RFID, that you can insert on your cattle to know wherever your cattle is at any point in time, just by the beep of your phone. So bringing things like this bring more relaxation for anyone coming into the business. And of course, the insurance is also there. So these are some of the things that we've put in place to ensure that we run this on a global scale. Thank you so much.
Kale Jaye, still with you in our Lagos Network Center, very briefly, before we get into other aspects, since it's a learning experience for everybody, let's get it right. Cattle, 100 cattle is 100 cattle, take out the S. But there are two other aspects that you have raised with regard to your business. One, you're talking about fodder, which is like the grass that the cattle would normally will feed on, and then the other is it's like a tracking device for your cattle or your livestock to bust cattle rustling. I find these two very interesting, because if you recall, some time ago, there was some uproar here in Nigeria when the former Minister of Agri suggested that we might need to import fodder, which is grass, from Brazil or elsewhere. So how much of this are you into? Is it the rearing of your cattle, or you are both into the tech for tracking the cattle or your livestock you have or growing the fodder and then making this available. We know that there used to be livestock feeds in the past, but they all collapsed after the structural adjustment program was introduced in 1996. What exactly are you into now?
As regards the tracking device, we're actually in partnership with another company for that. And what we do presently is actually we're focusing on the fodder aspects of our business, because we realize that feeding a cattle is actually costly at the moment in Nigeria, and also getting it done, it's quite cumbersome. So what we did is to actually learn about this process of making fodder hydroponically. And with this, on the normal day, when you want to make plant the fodders for your cattle, you spend, say, about 3 months thereabouts, and you have to get a large hectares of land to be able to, achieve this. But with hydroponic fodder, you can actually do this same thing with little space and also little time. And also, the good side of it is that it's actually cost effective, and the fodder itself is actually very of great health beneficial to the cattle at large. So fodder actually, hydroponic fodder actually helps this cattle, because in 7 to 9 days, like I said earlier, we can prepare this fodder for them to feed on. So that's basically what we do. Compared to the 3 months that it's going to take to plant the normal kind of fodders, and also we are reducing cost as well. So in getting this done, we are feeding our cattle's fats, we are getting better results from them.
Kaleja, so that we can dispense with the issue of the fodder. Now, if you are growing this, I know that we have advanced technology now, the greenhouse that people use, but mostly our agriculture is rain-fed. Do you have an irrigation system? Do you have sprinkler systems that can assist you? We are getting into the dry season now, so if you don't have rain in Ogun State, what do you do?
The good thing about this thing is that it doesn't need rain. With less water, for those listening, you can actually browse about hydroponics. You realize that with hydroponics, you are using less water. The truth about agric is that plants does not necessarily need rain. What they need is water, and that's why irrigation can always come in. And it doesn't always need sun, it needs light. So with understanding these basic principles of agric, we realize that with less water, just say like about 10% water that you normally require from the traditional method of farming, you can actually grow your fodder with less water. So yes, there is the dry season is setting in, but we don't actually need that. And even during the normal raining season, we don't even need the rain to grow our fodders, because we actually need less water. And all we did was just to create a structure, and amazingly, it will surprise you that we don't grow this with soil. We grow them in trays. We call them hydroponic trays, fodder trays. So we grow them in these trays, and in 7 to 9 days, like I said, our fodder is ready. So we really don't need rain at all year round.
Fantastic, Kaleja. Thank you very much. Kirian, you are a science and tech buff, and he was talking about very little amount of water, not rain, that is required to grow the fodder. I have read sometime what the Israelis do. Of course, they've converted a desert into a green area. That there's a technology now that targets the plants.
Drip irrigation.
That's right. It just targets just the required amount of water. Yeah. It just drops there. I know that, but that doesn't involve satellite, which is your area.
It's very interesting you said this, because you read it. Yes. I actually saw it. Yes. I saw it in Kibbutz area of Israel. Kibbutz people are the first Israelis that got to that area before 1948, before Israel was constituted. They came from Russia. Right, so when they came, they met a desert. So what they now did was to develop that concept of a drip irrigation, which they give a plant the water it requires, not the rain, like Kaleja rightly pointed out. They give each plant the water it requires, not to really water the entire area, but just the plant itself. And you could see they have grown acres of plants, green
year round.
Yes, right. So that's for that. Let's get back to our shoe
shoe maker. My friend, you from making a footwear for your father, you expanded, and today you are now a qualified shoe maker or shoe producer, if you like. I want to know the kind of footwear that you make. Is it shoes, sandals, slippers, or all? And we also like to understand your plans for expansion, because what you have started is very fantastic. I would like to understand whether you have any plan to expand, so you to own a machinery, as Kingsley asked you earlier on, a machinery that will assist you in churning out shoes that are of high quality that Nigerians can buy.
Thank you very much. Like I said earlier, we want to expand, we want to grow. Right now, because every good company starts small. And I spoke to the MD of Transcorp Company, and she told me to read more books, to study more. And also, in particular, she made mention of Shoe Dog, that talks about the story of Nike and how it started and how it's now a multi-billion-dollar company. So for now, we're working on also developing a mobile app whereby we can have a customer interface where our customers can work with us and we can select and also have their details on the footwear development. And also, we are partnering with the university and also a professor, Professor Tony Belletti from Canada, thanks to Abe, on developing a mobile app where we can have a particular shape of our customers, where we can work with them and have the exact shape and size of the footwear without having to go over to wherever they are in the world. And also, right now, we are working on developing ourselves. First of all, on human development. We realize that people are the backbone of society, and a lot of people that are unemployed, which the footwear industry can create so much opportunity for them. And also, most importantly, we are also working on bringing out materials, getting the right materials from Kano, because Kano leather are one of the best so far in Africa. We want to develop, we want to grow. One of the basic challenges we've faced so far is having access to funds, to finances, which are, thanks so much to Abe, which he has provided us with needed seed capital to start and develop our business to the next level. Thank you.
Yeah, Elisha, but thank you very much for your perspective. Abby and gentlemen, we're going to have to take a short break now. When we return, as to be expected, we have a tonnage of tweets from our viewers. We'll quickly go through them. Of course, take a comment also from Abby, and then we'll get your closing thoughts on this very interesting conversation.
Meet the dreamer. Meet the stylish. Meet the bold. Meet the inquisitive. Meet the warrior. Meet the master. Meet the realist. The challenge is coming. Unity Challenge. Power, development, and peace. Coming soon.
All right, you're welcome back, and it's still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Let's begin our tweets now. Mabwala Babs, our youth should think less of white-collar jobs, but rather how to be employers of labor. In one of the big supermarkets today, firewood are sold for public needs. How many of our youth can think in that direction of fetching woods in the bush? Rather, they want quick riches. If you fetching firewood, that one would deforest our environment.
Exactly. The youths are so eager, says Francis Obi, to learn and ready to be used with so much energy that are being wasted. But who will help them? Look at youth and sports development. What is their budget, and how are old men there managing the Megara location?
Now, Titus Mondenong, the youth are the prime movers of most developed nations because the right conditions exist for them to thrive. Nigerian youths are doing great exploits abroad but can't do the same at home because they are stifled conditionally, used politically, and dumped economically. It's a pity.
From Francis Obi, growing up in the 60s, there were handcraft centers, government trade centers, that's GTCs, in the East to train primary school pupils. This center has been scrapped and the building demolished and allocated for other uses. Watch Israel, Israelis, they have a lot of young people assisting older people in all spheres, and this way there is continuity and more innovations.
Now, Adejumo Paul Olubumi tweets, I wish the government can support the youth. The government shouldn't overburden us with high taxes and harsh economic policies.
Law Alpha C. Some countries have attained economic prosperity by placing a greater value and attention on technical education, skills acquisition, and Nigerian youths should be encouraged to tread the path and be self-reliant.
Festus Akinboyewa, government should invest in vocational education and make it attractive. One way government can make vocational education attractive is to allow graduates of vocational institutions to participate in the NYSC. The large number of unemployable youth is a burden to families, society, and the country. How does that help the NYSC? What are likely to gain from the NYSC?
Mike, in other climes, governments are not major employers of labor, but public enterprises. But what the government over there do is provision of conducive atmosphere and incentives. Given the opportunity, Nigerian youths are very enterprising. They should be encouraged to develop their potential. Good enough, some of them have started showcasing their stuff in different fields of endeavors, and hopefully others will follow suit.
DW Nigeria, that's the handle there. Believe in yourself as a youth. Be humble and be ready to start small. Don't wait until you get one big capital somewhere before starting something.
Ahmed Mohamed, I believe Nigerian youths are talented, creative, and innovative. However, they cannot do it alone. The government has to come into play by assisting them, especially financially.
Now, Festus Akinboyewa, during the Civil War, government mobilized the young people and took them to the war front to fight. In peacetime, government should mobilize our young people to farms, build our roads, railway, and houses. Our young people have no reason to be jobless when our infrastructure is inadequate.
Josh, PhD, nice discussion this morning. Please, can we have the social media handles of your discussants?
All right, Chris Simeon, I'm sure Kira will oblige them with that, yes. Yeah. Okay, Chris Simeon, in this kind of scenario, infrastructure development is crucial. Governments should put the necessary infrastructure in place that will help the teeming youth in carrying out their endeavors.
The young man who developed the health app may have done a great job. However, did he put into consideration the number of Nigerians that don't have access to power supply, internet facilities, and the level of illiteracy in the system? But that doesn't stop him from doing what he's
That's
doing.
right. That's why he's starting small. Exactly. He's not claiming to serve the entire population.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. Mutara Farouk, young Nigerians are full of enthusiastic vigor and passion to work and earn a living without necessarily depending on white-collar jobs, though there must be an enabling and conducive atmosphere for the youth to sprout. We are all equal to the task.
Gabriel Teams Kambai, it's never too late to start up something new. Quit waiting for the white-collar job and government. I believe the typical Nigerian youths are far smart enough and talented that if channeled appropriately, every set goal can be achieved. God bless Nigeria.
All right, so I'm sorry, Kirian. Sonny Michael Amakoje, there are a lot of Nigerian young persons who can earn a living outside white-collar jobs. A lot are writers, including me, but there's no special grant or subvention from government to enable us embark on publication as is done in other nations.
Well,
government should step in.
That should do it for the tools we have from our viewers this morning. Let's turn to the US.
To the US,
yes. To the US.
I mean, I'm sorry, because this is a very interesting conversation. We are virtually out of time. Perhaps you ask and then I also ask a question to Abi Asheko. Abi, in your interface with the Nigerian youth who are beneficiaries of your intervention, what is your entry point? Are you coming to the federal government? Are you going to local governments? Or are you going to state governments? Or you are looking for NGOs?
Right now, you could take a look at the youth in general and how the youth, how they operate. You have the millennials, you have the Gen X and Y. Everybody is on social media. Everybody's on the internet. And that's one of the bases of how I went into that. And I did a partnership with the Global Entrepreneurship Network, which really supports the youth and youth entrepreneurs. And that's how I went into personally years from now. My criteria in looking at this, because everybody can have an idea. Everybody has an idea. It's looking for that great big idea. And can we turn that idea into a profit platform? And so going into that, I worked personally with a professor that Elisha talked about, Professor Tony Belletti, who has spent 44 years at Carleton University teaching on entrepreneurship. So we worked hand in hand together to go through all the young entrepreneurs that reached out to us or that I reached out to personally. We looked at their pitch decks. We gave them feedback on what investors would be looking for when they're pitching. I mean, it was a very rigorous session, and it took multiple weeks for us to be able to get the right amount of candidates. We didn't care if it was 5 entrepreneurs we got or 50, but we needed to make sure that those entrepreneurs that did come into our program were entrepreneurs that we had a vested interest with, and we knew that we could turn the idea into a great big idea and in turn be profitable at the end of the day.
All right, Abe, are you experiencing any form of challenges in the interface you have with Nigerians? Do you also intend to expand the contacts that you have to accommodate more Nigerians? And do you require any form of assistance, from government or policymakers, as the case may be, in ensuring that what we are doing is moved to the next level?
Yeah, so we're already thinking and planning for 2020 and the programs that we're going to have, and we want it to be something that is continuous across the year, not just a one-time event or one-time program. And so when you start to look at the policy makers, again, when I went back to talking about education and providing that education and training, getting institutions such as FIRS to come in and talk about, taxes and how, the tax benefits and how Nigerians can benefit from that. Talking to PEBEC, which is the Business Made Easy, what are the things, the requirements, in terms of starting your business, even filling out the application, to get your business up and running, talking about people who are in agriculture, NAFDAC, how do you go about getting your NAFDAC number? I mean, those are all the things that when we start to look at the institutional policymakers to bring them in. And then obviously we rely on sponsorship. So sponsorship from the private sector, from the companies, the banks, who also have a corporate social responsibility, that are in line with what we're doing, and bringing them on board, not just in Nigeria, but also from abroad. So for example, like I said, the company I support, we do foreign trade investments with Canada. That's our tie. So getting Canadian private entities to also support. For this next year, we're going to have Canadian universities, professors coming into Nigeria to give more education and more training about investment, about trade, about training and entrepreneurship. So we're really harmonizing both the private and public sector, both from Nigeria and from Canada, to help ensure that we have a robust program throughout the entire year, every year, to our young entrepreneurs.
All right, thank you very much, Abi Ashekun. Now, back to our Lagos Network Center, where we have 2 guests still, Elisha into footwear and Kalejaye into agriculture, and then, of course, 2 gentlemen here with us in the studios. Kirian, my colleague here, on set knows that we've often interrogated the use of research findings. We do know that, of course, for the millennials, that's the younger generation, you normally will go online. But you know that Nigeria has a number of research institutes. Have you also tried to tap into what their research findings are and see how you can then boost your business? Or what other young Nigerians could also do in reaching out to those research institutes to see what their findings are and how they can apply them to their ideas?
Okay, personally, I've actually done a lot of online research as well, like you said, and also I'm looking into government institutions to see what they are doing and what they have to offer us at the moment. And when I was much into crop farming, for example, I related with NASA, I related with some government institutions who are also into research, like you said. I bought some seed, I think, from Niger State to boost what I was doing and check the viability of the seeds that they have with what I bought from abroad. So yes, we are doing that as well, because I believe this thing we grow better when it is collaborative, when we can learn from what they are giving us, what the bank knowledge that they have. We can also tap into it to get what we are doing better. So yes, we are doing that as well.
Okay, time is on our side at the moment, and we would like both of you in Lagos. We want you to tell our viewers your address, your contact. Let's see how you can expand your horizon, your contact. Let's start with Elisha Ugwebu. Your contact, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Elisha Alex. You can see that on Facebook, and also my Facebook page is Shoe Doctor. And also Instagram is Shoe Doctor 07. And also my mobile number, WhatsApp number is 080-6695-3204. And watch out, Shoe Doctor is the next big thing in Nigeria. We're going to scale this company to a multi-billion-dollar company in the next 10 years. Just watch it out.
Elisha, that's an advert. We'll get you to pay for this. Okay, let's ask Kalejaye to also let the viewers know his contact.
Okay, once again, my name is Kalejaye Adewale Adetunji, and go on any social media platform and check out for Wallace Kalex. And also, you should check out Meet Wallets. Yes, my Meet Wallet, and you can go to www.meetwallet.com.ng to check out what we are offering you Nigerians out there. And also my WhatsApp contacts 08034886852. Thank you. God bless you.
Gentlemen in Lagos, we'd like to thank you for being with us on the conversation today. Thanks a lot for being with us. And then back to our Abuja studios very quickly, Emmanuel.
My Facebook name is Imone Balamusa. Instagram, Balijo Inspire. Then my phone number, WhatsApp is 08069129243.
All right.
Name is Aliyu Bello Aliyu. You can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at myclinic.ng, just at myclinic.ng. Then you can also check our website at www.myclinic.ng. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Abia Shekun from Houston, Texas. We know it's small hours there right now. You guys, you're losing daylight time now. So we'd like to thank you for being part of us. I almost wanted to ask you if you were the daughter of Femi Shekun, but well, thanks a lot for being with us on the conversation this morning, regardless. Yes. Okay, Kira.
All right, and gentlemen here in the studio, would like to also appreciate you. Aliyu Bello Aliyu, it's been wonderful talking to you. And as well as Musa Emmanuel, also thank you for coming. These are young Nigerians who are making waves, and we are very proud of them this morning.
Absolutely.
And as a matter of fact, I am so excited because they're all applying, science, technology, and innovation to get what they're doing right.
Okay, so all right, let's go. With a busy weekend for sports. Obviously, I mean, if you were glued to your TV sets or you were at the grounds, you would have been entertained well beyond measure, even though Roger Federer lost last night in his opener at the year-end ATP Finals in London.